On my first entrance onto the ARK, my avatar was weak and pathetic. He was not made for this harsh environment, so I had to take him apart, piece by piece, and construct a new body from the ground up. I reassembled the skeleton, oriented the muscle groups for advanced self-defense, concluding this beefcake with a chin as if it was forged from steel. I gave him the vicious tenacity of a Siberian tiger, the impeccable eyesight of a golden eagle, and the potent libido of that of a giant tortoise. Finally, I was met with the perfect being, stronger than any possible human. I present to you the Tyrannosapiens CHAD, the conqueror of the ARK. Hey gang, today we have a look at ARK Survival Evolved. Since I'm a broke ass bitch, we just look at the basic edition and the official released maps only. I know there are many more maps out there if you want to get into them, but I don't, so there's your chance to find out for yourself. Feel blessed. But first of all, I want to bring this tab to your attention. If the merciless vanilla experience is not your cup of tea, you can adjust a wide variety of settings to fit your personal preferences, starting from the difficulty to which engrams are available for crafting. Personally, since I'm playing alone and only have limited time, I increase the drop rate of resources. Everything respawns sooner or later anyway, therefore it's not game breaking, but rather more convenient for me. Also for later you should have a low flyer carry PvE enabled. Anyway, we now enter the island. The first thing to notice is that this game is huge. While being placed on a seemingly deserted beach, the pillars for the boss fights are seen in the distance and provide the first glance on where we are about to be heading. More on them later. We don't have time to appreciate the nice weather. Our stomach is getting empty and the local berries do everything but quench the hunger. It's time to hunt and prepare for big targets. We are making contact with the prehistoric wildlife, and I'm glad that I brought these two guns to defend myself. Once we've collected enough food, we head out to explore and search for a place to stay. There are a lot of things to discover here, like this tree that gives you wood for a new home. Except if you lose in mutual combat. Let's go back to the dinosaurs. These creatures roam freely throughout the whole island. Fun fact, it took me over 25 hours of playtime to figure out how to tame these quirky little fellas. To be fair, I was expecting a more elaborate process like searching the right bait for a sophisticated contraption. But no, you just actively defend yourself from them until they pass out, stuff them with food and boom, they love you. After randomly stumbling over a tame dilophosaur of mine, I realized what I have done. He just stood there, looking into the void, apparently scared for life.
Why are we still here?
But that's not important. Everything here is dangerous. If you don't know how to defend yourself, you will die. A lot. At the start, it seems that you can never get enough resources to survive. And also the environment itself is reckless. You're cold? Please place yourself onto the nearest bonfire. If you're not totally engulfed in flames, you still will be freezing. Now you're hot? Well, even the ocean can cool you down. And you're defecating all the time. Can we talk about that for a second? The player character has more traffic in his gut than the hot tub streamers before bedtime. I mean, you can die of starvation and still be able to press out a couple of self-made medicine balls. And it's not only the player, the wildlife too. No matter the species, a T-Rex squats down and parks some Jurassic Park. The tech monsters are seen laying a lot of cable as well, if you know the drill. Speaking of tech dinosaurs, I have no idea where they come from, but I love them. They are making the funniest of noises.
Chad, we need your help defeating Megatron.
I wonder what stories these noble creatures could tell, if we could just listen to them. I spent way too much time trying to create a zoo with these cyberpunks.
If you won't help us acquire the Allspark, at least set us free.
But for the sake of this video I had to keep my shit together, even though my character constantly loses it. But enough of this. The plan to conquer the ARK was simple. Craft some gear, tame an army of dinosaurs, become a god. Step 1 and 2 are negligible. I set myself to beat this game as fast as possible. Every step of mine was carefully planned and executed to reach my goal as quickly as possible. Then I started to build a base. After 500 hours of game time, I figured out that taming dinos is a bigger pain in the ass than expected. Hello everybody, meet Bonko, since they're not as enduring as expected. Bonko, no! Therefore I spent most of my playtime as a loner, making myself familiar on how and where to gather various resources. You see, simple questions are not so easily answered on the ARK. With which tool are you gathering the most stone from one boulder? If you would choose the pick to mine, then you would be wrong. What are you, stupid? You pick an axe, of course. Do you want your storage units to be filled to the brim with flint? Who are you, Mr. Flintstone? I eat freaks like you for breakfast cause I got vitamin deficiency and a small penis. This is one of the many instances where different tools are gathering different materials. Just one of the things I wish I knew earlier. After collecting many resources, it was time to ascend. I left behind my primitive gear and reached new levels and spread fear. No more thatch and stone, behold my true iron form. Okay, it's not that special. But it took me long enough to gather everything while having to defend myself constantly. I wasn't even safe in my own base, and I soon learned that you should not place your precious crafting stations in the first floor.
Do you want to see my red racket?
So base building alone was not the answer to beating this game. Now I want to emphasize again, it took me over 100 days of game time to realize that instead of defending myself with prehistoric tools, it is much easier than to encounter any aggressor on the back of a big ass lizard. Therefore, I want to introduce you to the only acceptable beast for the Tyrannosapiens CHAD, this penguin. Just kidding. Everybody say hello to Uncle. While I was mainly using my fists to knock out the dinos, I soon realized that it's much easier and quite more efficient to use tranquilizer darts. Who would have guessed? Also, these Pokeballs make the transportation of your new friends very easy. I went to the Dead Island and started shopping for some carnivores. Hey you! Do you need something to defend yourself? Having trouble with that big package of yours? Why not share the load with this questionable companion? With just a reasonable amount of fresh meat, no matter the origin. What have I done? They must never find out about this. You can get your personal carnivore now. They can keep you warm, save you from harm. You can feed them and breed them. Oh my god, why are they all? What have I done? Oh my god, I eat babies. I have to get rid of the bodies. Oh my god. Oh no, it's all going to be okay. Train them and train them for murder. It's a big lizard with a jawline so monstrous that they can devour even your mom in one bite. Nobody questions the disappearance of anyone if you just point your finger at them. We at Carnivore.store will not guarantee a successful evade of prosecution and neither the keeping of limbs while pointing towards these big ass lizards. For your personal carnivore, just write yes on a stone and send it to John Hammond.
I spared no expense to make dinosaurs come.
Now Uncle finally got some company. Look at those two lovebirds, and there he is defecating again. That's cool, I won't kink shame. But these beasts are not only good for self-defense. The ARK, for example, is going to be your best friend, one of the strongest flyers you can get early on. It can pick up small creatures with its claws and even with its beak, hence why you should have a low flyer carry PvE enabled. This is extremely useful to tame an otter. Why an otter, you ask? First of all, they are cute as fuck and I would toss you in a burning building just for the chance of saving one of them. Second, you can put them on your shoulder and they keep you warm when you explore cold environments. And you need to go to cold environments to get your hands on Kairukus. These penguin-looking dudes, if you are not familiar with the ARK terms, since they drop organic polymer, which we need for, you know, advanced self-defense tools. So every animal has its use. Some of them even can farm resources for you. Like a slave. Now that I'm more or less properly equipped, have an army of apex predators on my command and a reasonably developed base, it was time to take the next step and find the artifacts. As mentioned earlier, there are 3 pillars spread across the island, and each pillar acts as a teleporter that will lead you to a different boss arena. To activate these teleporters, you are supposed to find the corresponding artifacts, but they are hidden in secret caves and are spread across the map. Some of them are easy to find and only inhabit weak monsters, and then there is this. That's why I said I'm more or less properly equipped. After many excruciating hours, I managed to get the proper artifacts for the red pillar. But then a shadow appeared on the moon. A legendary creature is roaming the wilderness and is endangering my home. I need to stop this evil before my tribe is attacked. This is a call for advanced self-defense. I have prepared some offspring from Uncle, and together we will vanquish this beast. Soon, the fiend appeared. The Dodo Rex is here. Let's go! Henry, Jeremy, Rexo, Ginkgo, Mr. Spinoza, Sweet Caroline, Buffalo Bill, Luda Christina, Carla, Clive, Rex, ×6 and Spinoticos. Show this monster what the art of self-defense looks like. No! We are losing! That's impossible! We have completed the master course of the Detroit Urban Survival Training.
Detroit Urban Survival Training!
I must go all out. Just this once. This is the last time the ARK will be exposed to your terror. Prepare to meet your maker, Big Bird. Ta! Hua! Yeah! Hua! Hua! Yeah! Woohoo! Finally, it is done. Henry, Jeremy, Rexo, Genko, Mrs. Spinoza, Sweet Caroline, Buffalo Bill, Luda, Christina, Carla, Clive, Rex times 6 and Spinoticus. I will never forget you and your sacrifice. Your meat, however, will strengthen the future generations. After this encounter, I felt ready. I am in the endgame now. I could have brought up to 20 beasts with me, but as previously mentioned, I, myself, am the apex self-defender. I am the Tyrannosapiens CHAD, and that's a big dragon. How lucky that I am a master in the art of self-defense. With the use of only a few simple tools and organic polymer harvested from innocent Karukus, I managed to craft myself a prehistoric AR-15. Prepare to get self-defense, motherfucker. My passive-aggressive efforts seem to be ineffective. Fortunately, I also brought my big self-defender. Why are you so tanky? You really forced me to do this. I will now unleash my full power. Sensei, forgive me! Ah! The dragon was vanquished. The ARK is safe now.
You just defeated one boss!
The Tyrannosapiens remain undefeated.
And you had to use cheats for that.
Goodbye. And there is your normal video, Bobby, and now shut up and get fucked. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Also, thank you guys for over 100 subscribers, and I hope a couple of you random viewers want to join me on my YouTube journey as well. I had a lot of fun with ARK, and I highly recommend everyone to give it a try. At first it might seem a little bit overwhelming. With all the settings you can adjust, the vast world you can explore, and all the wildlife where it is uncertain how they are aligned. But just like in games like Minecraft, there's no actual correct way to play this game. You are free to tell your own tale. Defeating the bosses, as I showcased in this video by defeating the dragon, just helps you progress the extensive story that is told across multiple official released ARKs. Also, you don't have to play alone. Create a tribe with your friends, build a base, or destroy each other's bases. Or create a zoo and help each other to breed animals with different mutations. These mutations can be visually enhancing, like vibrant colors on your dinos, or they can enhance the attributes like melee damage, health, weight, and so on. Initially released through early access on Steam in 2015, ARK Survival Evolved saw its official release in 2017. And even now, 5 years later, and with a sequel set to be released to early access next year, the developers still put work and effort into their game. Special events like Fear Wolf, a Halloween-inspired event where the Dodo Rex is wreaking havoc, and special items and color schemes for the dinosaurs are available. And they still implement new dinosaurs. Just a couple of days ago, they released the Carcharodontosaurus. This video just scratched the surface for what is possible in this game. I myself am looking forward to another run on a new ARK since I cheated, and I want to clear the obelisk for real this time. Maybe with a couple of friends. We'll see. Until then, see ya!